Hi, Thomas. Thank you so much for meeting with me today. How are you?
I'm good. I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm good, thank you. It's really nice to meet you.
Mhm.
So, today's session is going to be an intake. So, it's mostly about getting to know you, and I'll be asking a lot of questions, more questions than I would be asking in the future if we continue to work together. I'm just going to be learning about your background and what brought you to therapy so we can
Mhm.
figure out the best ways that I can help you. And it's going to take about 35 minutes.
Okay.
Do you have any questions before we get started with the process?
No, that all sounds pretty straightforward.
Okay, great. So you can let me know if you have any questions that come up at any time.
Sounds good.
So just before we get into your background, I just have to review a bit about confidentiality.
Hmm.
So everything that we discussed today is confidential, unless I'm concerned about your safety or the safety of someone else, or if there's any abuse or neglect of a child, an elder, or a vulnerable adult, or if a court requires me to share my notes. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. So, can you just tell me a bit about what led you to connect with a therapist?
Yeah, I recently moved to the area and don't really know a whole lot of individuals around here. Some of my friends have suggested that they've done therapy and that it's been helpful for them, so I thought I would reach out.
It sounds like it would be a lot to move to a new area,
Mm-hmm.
especially I see on your intake you started a new job as well.
I did, yes.
How's that been going so far?
It's been going fairly well. A couple of like hiccups and still learning the whole process with everything.
That makes a lot of sense with the new job and being in a new area. Can you tell me a bit more about why your friends thought you should speak to somebody?
Yeah, I guess I've kind of discovered that I've seemed more nervous lately, a little bit more upset than general, a little bit more on edge. So they thought it'd probably be a good idea for me to talk to somebody about that, considering it's not really how I've normally been.
That makes a lot of sense. It sounds like your friends care a lot about you. Are these friends that are living in the area you moved to?
They are. They're close-ish.
Okay, that's very nice that you have them. So when did you first start to notice these changes?
Uh, it's a good question. I guess I first started noticing this pretty recently after the move. Even though I haven't been here all that long, I guess I kind of found that I wouldn't say it was like immediately happening, but it started happening pretty soon after being here.
Yeah, it sounds like moving to a new place and starting a new job can be very tough and a big transition. So it makes a lot of sense that you would be experiencing some changes in your mood.
Hmm.
What has been helping you cope so far with these feelings?
Um, that's kind of one of the other issues is that I really haven't developed a whole lot of what I'd call good kind of coping skills, or really any at all. Um, I've really just kind of stayed to myself and reading.
Yeah, it's tough, especially when you're busy to work on figuring out new coping strategies, but that's definitely something we can focus on in our upcoming sessions.
Hmm.
So, what is a day in the life like right now, living in your new area and in your new job? Maybe a day when you're working and a day when you're not working.
So I guess like a day when I'm working, I get up fairly close to when I need to go to work, just because I do work in food service, so it's always feels like you're on or you're not with that. So I would get up pretty early to then. When I get home, I'd make sure to do my clothes, make something to eat, and kind of get ready for the next day. Um, when I'm not working, like I said, spend a lot of time kind of alone and reading. Um, I've tried going to like public parks and everything, but sometimes it just feels like it's a little, I don't know, too much at times. Um, with as many people or as many things that are there. So I kind of try to stay a little bit to myself. But smaller areas that are quieter works well too. So I'll go to bookstores or maybe a library to go and read.
Okay, so it seems like you've been struggling with the new transition of the move, but you've been trying to get out to do certain activities like going to the bookstore and things that feel easy enough.
Absolutely.
Okay, that sounds like a great start. So how has your general health been lately? Any changes in that?
No, it's been pretty well. It's been good. Been able to kind of go about running and kind of do my usual activities and everything else that I really like to do.
That's great. Sounds really great. So has your sleep or energy levels been affected at all?
I guess energy levels have been more excited for some things than others. Sleep patterns been, I've always kind of had a difficulty with my sleep pattern. Being on and off kind of feels like I'm more of a natural night person. So switching to doing stuff during the day has been a little difficult.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So I noticed in your intake, you mentioned caffeine and nicotine use daily.
Mhm.
Is that new since the move?
The increase the nicotine use has been new.
Okay. And that makes sense because sometimes when there's a change or stress, habits can shift. Have you noticed any downsides of the increased use?
Well, besides, nicotine not being good for you at all, um, I'm sure that's probably playing a role in some of my sleep issue. But I'm not too entirely sure overall.
Okay. Yeah, that's good to know. Thanks for letting me know.
Mhm.
Um, so overall, when you've been feeling down or stressed in general, have you found anything right now that tends to help?
I mean, really, it's only specifically been reading. That's just been a pastime that I've had for a really long time. Same thing with running. Those are both things that I have done in my teens. But so far, I guess I really haven't branched out into a lot of different other possibilities.
Okay, that makes sense. Reading and running seem like great options, though. Those are both great coping skills. So you mentioned your close friends. So I just wanted to hear more about who are the most important people in your life.
Yeah, absolutely. Where I live fairly close to some individuals that I've known since I was younger in college. Um, and these people have been really helpful for me. My family lives over on the different side of the state. Kind of grew up in a real small rural area, and so I was actually these friends that I have since I've known them. I'm a first generation college student, so we kind of bonded over that together.
Mm. That sounds really nice, especially having family in the state. Are they close by? How far is it to see them?
Yeah, they're within the Metro Detroit area, so fairly close.
Okay, that's really nice. So who do you think you would go to most for support if you're needing any?
So far, I give my mom a phone call when it really feels like I need support. I go to her pretty often.
That's really nice. So you find that she's a big support for you?
Hmm.
And what about in your work? How's the environment like socially? Are you having any connection with coworkers or like how has the management been like at your job?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's a food service job, so it's kind of chaotic.
Mhm.
Communication's not always the best. Um, so and when it is communication, it can be rather coarse communication.
Yeah.
So that's been kind of difficult managing that and kind of dealing with how that kind of works.
Yeah, it seems like in a fast-paced environment, sometimes communication and relationships can be hard to form.
Mm, absolutely.
So just wanted to learn a little bit more about your culture and identity. So sometimes people's background or identity can make their experiences easier or harder. So when I say background or identity, I mean things like race, gender, where you're from, your religion,
Mm,
or your community. So are
mm,
there aspects of your background or identity that feel especially important to who you are, or that might shape your experiences here?
mm. Oh, sorry. Could you repeat the question on that? My
Yes, of
apologies.
course. So are there aspects of your background or identity that are especially important to you or might shape our experiences working together?
Yeah. Yeah. I guess, the being a first generation college student, that's pretty
Mhm.
important to me. Um, I find that to be, you know, uh, when it comes towards aspects of my identity, that's usually a really big one that still remains to this day. Um, I also work within food service, so a lot of that is, even though I work more on the manager side now, it's more seen as, in a lot of the individuals that we have, there's a high turnover, so it's kind of seen as that lower, like working class um, kind of area, and there's at least that's a lot of the individuals that I work with. But as the manager side, I kind of receive more of a salary in that. So that's kind of a little bit of a clash at times.
Mhm.
I'm also pretty socially conscious, or at least I like to think I am. And I get involved in um, local movements and local community building and community creating kind of things.
That sounds really great. Tell me a bit more about the community engagement that you're part of.
Yeah, of course. So for me, food stability is really important. So I work with organizations that work towards making sure that individuals do have food resources, and also creating community like events that are focused around food sharing, food making, and just kind of offering an opportunity for anyone to kind of come by. At least I used to do that. I haven't really been doing that a whole lot now, um, since moving here.
That sounds really meaningful. Is that something you would be hoping to get back into doing?
I would like to. I'd like to get back into that.
Okay, yeah, that sounds great. So, just the next thing I want to go over is that I know many people have thoughts about not wanting to live or ending their life, and some people are reluctant to bring this up on their own. So, I
Hmm,
just have made a practice to ask all my clients about this. Would it be okay if we discussed this topic?
of course.
Okay, great. So, have you had any thoughts about not wanting to live or hurting yourself?
No, I have not.
Okay, thank you for sharing. If those thoughts ever do come up, please let me know. And this is a safe space to talk about them, and we can always work through that together.
Hmm.
So, going beyond now your background and why you're coming to therapy, I just want to hear about some of your strengths and what you would say your best qualities are that you bring to challenges.
Hmm. That's a good question. I like to think that I'm fairly level-headed when it comes to different challenges. Carrying out and trying to figure out between different issues is pretty important for me. I think I also, I don't know, I also think that I keep calm under pressure as well. Maybe not as best as I could at times, but it's something that for me I try to do, and that is important for me entirely. Those are kind of like the real big ones that come off like from the top of my head at the moment.
That sounds like a really great strength. What do you think your friends would say your best qualities are?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think a lot of them would say, being able to just kind of like be there would be some of my best qualities. Being able to show up and being there to support them.
So it sounds like you have some great friends that you like to be there for to support.
Hmm.
That's really nice. Um, so sorry, I'm just jumping back a little bit to your intake form. So I see here that you mentioned you do not have stable housing at the moment. So I just wanted to hear a bit about your living situation.
Yeah, I used to live, I had a roommate, then the roommate left, wasn't able to afford, since we're all technically on one lease. So it's kind of been bouncing around, living with some different friends for a period of time. So that's kind of been a bit of a challenge recently.
Yeah, so it seems like on top of the transition and the move, it could be even more challenging to not have that stable living situation.
Hmm. Yeah.
So what would you say about the move and all this transition has been the hardest?
Transition. Ooh, that's a good question. I guess the instability of where I'm living, that's been really challenging. Hasn't really been able to feel like I could build my own kind of community just because it doesn't feel like, I have my own space to be able to.
That makes a lot of sense. Having the stability of where you live can really affect how the transition is going. So it makes
Mm,
a lot of sense that you would be feeling like that.
mm.
So just going back to your strengths, what would you say you're the most proud of?
It's a good question. I guess I'm really proud of, being the first in my family to complete a college degree. That's really big to me.
Mhm.
And I think I would say like I'm proud of my ability to, even when it's a difficult situation, to kind of not just be able to press on, but be able to find a solution and be able to move through it as well.
That's such a great thing to be proud of. Being the first in your family to finish college is a really amazing accomplishment.
Thank you.
So, I also just wanted to know generally what you're hoping to get out of therapy.
Yeah, absolutely. I think having been in therapy before, it's really helpful. I've always found it helpful. Just to be able to have a person to be able to come and talk to. That's always been, again, like that's always been a strength. That's always been
Mhm.
something that's helped, knowing that you don't have to just look through it all on your own, that there's also another person that's there too to kind of provide an added lens to help you sort out and figure out what is going on.
Yes, of course. That's what I hope to do with you and just be there for you to talk to and have somebody to come to with the things you're feeling.
Mhm.
So, if you were to look forward and see your life after our work together, what do you hope to see?
No. I guess I'd hope to see some more like coping skills, especially like mentioning some of those like areas that I've been in that kind of um, feels a little too busy or a little too crowded at times when I'm on my free time. Being able to kind of help in those situations or when things feel like they're just a little too much.
That's a great goal that we can definitely work towards together. Um, okay. So, from what I've been hearing, it just sounds like this move has been a lot on you, and
Mhm.
especially with the unstable living situation and starting a new job, things have been feeling like a lot. So your friends have recommended you to come speak to someone, and you wanted to do that to hopefully gain some coping strategies and be able to handle these changes in a better way.
Hmm.
Does that sound right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So, is there anything else about your background that you think I should know before we begin doing our work together?
Um, no, I think a lot of that, I think really kind of hit on what the most important parts of the background. And yeah, I think a lot of that was really succinct and pretty good with all the information that you said.
Okay. So you mentioned being a first generation college student. How
Mhm.
experience in college?
It was pretty good. I was involved in a lot of organizations. I graduated with a pretty good GPA. And was involved in a lot of different organizations, even though I worked throughout as well.
Mhm.
But I would say overall, I had a really good experience, and I was really fortunate in that regard.
That's great. Where did you go to school?
I went to Central Michigan.
That sounds like you had a great experience there.
Mhm.
And the people that you are close friends with, you met in college?
Yes, yeah, and a few of them actually at like my first real job after college.
Okay, that's really nice. Um, so next time we meet, we can explore what supports you already have and then maybe set some more tangible goals that we can reach.
Mhm.
Do you have any sort of coping strategies that you're interested in learning more about?
Um, Not in particular. Not that I've really gone and looked up or discovered on my own. No.
Okay. So, we can definitely think of those together and work together to find some more.
Absolutely. I look forward to that.
Okay, so just before we wrap up our session, how did today's session feel for you?
Good. It felt um, more conversational, even though I know it's a lot of questions that have to be asked.
Yeah.
It felt pretty conversational.
Okay, that's great. So you've been really open with me today, and thank you so much. And I really enjoyed getting to know you. And I look forward to continuing our work together.
Same. I do as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Thomas.